It's a morning, it's time to wake up and try not to cry. Morning to you. Not good morning, just morning, because I want to respect whatever type of morning you are having, whether it be good or average or sucky. And in fact, you might even be watching this in the afternoon, in which case, afternoon, or the evening, in which case, evening. Or you could be watching it in the middle of the night, in which case, please finish watching it and then maybe look into getting some melatonin or therapy. But anyways, it is morning for me. It's a decent morning because we're going to do a little cozy advice video. So I asked you guys on Instagram what you wanted advice on for the new year, what you wanted to work on in 2025. So we're going to have a cozy little morning. I'm going to work on knitting my blanket. I'm going to do some other cozy hobbies. You can feel free to do a cozy hobby as well, or you can do an uncomfortable hobby. Whatever type of hobby you prefer, you can do. And I'm going to read some of your cues, provide my A's, and those A's are going to be based off of just my life, my perspective. I'm not a professional therapist. I'm not a professional anything, really. I'm pretty amateur at most things I do, pretty much everything I've done. So just an average human giving some average advice.
Hello and welcome to Average Advice from an Average Human. Yes, that is what we're calling it. It's pleasantly ordinary. It's two pals having a heart-to-heart. It's therapy if your therapist didn't have the proper degree or charge you money. It's for the discombobulated, the anxious, the unsure, the perfectionist, the ones who cry a lot. We're going to talk about
getting out of your comfort zone, coping with things out of your control, managing overwhelm, organizing mental clutter, practicing self-kindness, and quieting your mind. I'd love to know what that's like.
It's going to be cozy. It's going to be a yap sesh. Please feel free to yap back, whether your yapping is out loud to yourself or in the comments. I encourage you to yap in whatever way you feel comfortable. All right, and the average advice starts now.
All right, so the first question we've got is, how do you take the first step toward something you want to accomplish? So I assume the person who asked this question has something that they would like to accomplish, obviously, but it feels so big and overwhelming that they don't know how to start it. And also, I am going to be assuming a lot because Instagram does not give you guys much room to elaborate, which gives me a lot of room to infer things. So if I infer incorrectly, I apologize. But so when I want to start something and I feel very overwhelmed by it, the first thing I do is I think about it for 2 to 3 years. And then I finally start it and I'm like, wow, that was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I should have started that 2 to 3 years ago. But obviously that's what we want to avoid. So to avoid that, there's a few things that I like to do. This is all sorts of tangled, much like my life. Probably not something I should be saying in a video where I'm trying to give you advice on how to live your life. So number 1 is micro goals. So you want to wake up each day and just write down one very tiny thing you can do to move you towards your larger goal, you know, the scary one. I'm going to use starting a YouTube channel as an example because that is something that I procrastinated for a very long time. So in that example, my end goal is a YouTube channel with lots of entertaining videos, perfectly curated thumbnails, and an audience that showers me with love and affection in a perfectly appropriate way. But so that's my end goal. That's the big, scary end goal. I'm not going to think about that because getting to that takes about 4,000 different steps and is going to cause anxiety paralysis, a functional freeze, whatever you want to call it. Where does this even begin? Oh my God, it's all the way down there. Okay, through here. Where is this? Where is the end of this? So I would tell my brain, the YouTube channel is not my goal. My goal is just X. Insert for X any tiny goal you can accomplish that works towards your larger goal. So for instance, I would be like, okay, I am simply going to watch a YouTube video today. Just take a look, see what I like about it, see what I don't, and that's it. And then maybe the next day, my goal would be to find some articles about cameras or find some videos about cameras. Not even necessarily watch them, just find 3 videos reviewing cameras that I want to watch and save them so that the next day my goal can be to watch the videos and they're just already bookmarked. I can't get distracted by things. I just go and I watch the videos, not necessarily making a decision on any camera, just letting the information seep in to my body. And every time I get one of those micro goals done, I feel satisfied. I feel like I'm making progress. And sometimes you'll feel so good after a micro goal that you'll use that momentum to actually get more done. So maybe you're just watching a video about cameras and then all of a sudden you make a decision on a camera and you buy one. Amazing. You did like 7 different micro goals. But then also if you don't feel that momentum, if you just accomplish the one thing, that's still a win, and that's gonna keep you going to the next day. And then before you know it, you'll be closer to your actual big scary goal than ever, except for it won't seem as big and scary anymore because you used all these micro goals to get there. So now it's not scary, it's kind of nice. It's like a nice little, it's like a dream. It's like a fun, nice little dream instead of a big scary goal. You know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense. The second thing I would recommend is to just try it. Okay, whatever the thing is that you want to accomplish, imagine somebody came to you and said, hey, I need you to do this thing that you want to accomplish, and you have 15 minutes to research and plan. And just think about, how would you approach it? What would you do? What research would you do in 15 minutes to figure out how to do this thing? That's pretty much how I finally started doing my YouTube channel, was after 2-3 years of procrastinating. I just said, screw it. I looked at like one video on cameras and I was like, this is the one that I'm gonna buy, and I'm just gonna use my critical thinking skills and my gut to make a YouTube video. And I did what felt right, and kind of everything felt right because I didn't know exactly what was wrong, other than like, you know, if the camera lens is on, like that's wrong. You need to take that off. Okay. Where is the end of this? This is here. And basically I ended up just learning as I went. My first video was by no means a masterpiece, but it also wasn't terrible. I think sometimes we have more instinct and knowledge in us than we think we do, because we're in this world where you can Google anything. You're like, if I'm gonna do something, I need to Google it. I need to look up how to do it. People don't typically just try to do something anymore. So if you're feeling overwhelmed about learning how to do something, about researching how to do something, just give it a shot with minimal research, with no research, and see what happens. Because there is also something kind of magical about doing something and having no idea what the rules are or what the guidelines are, because again, you don't know what is right. So you just do whatever you want. And sometimes that can create some very magical stuff, some very magical things. What's not magical right now is this situation here. I'm gonna need a minute to get this in order without talking, so hold on. Okay. Oh, we are closed. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't start crying. Okay, we're getting closer, but still far over there. Get out of here. Ta-da! See, this is what happens when you just use your gut and your instinct. You can untangle things, literal things, and your life, perhaps. I haven't gotten that far with like the metaphorical untangling, but the literal untangling, it went okay. Okay, the last tip I have on getting started on things is to simply accept that you're gonna start out sucking. All right, when you start something, you are inevitably going to make mistakes, but you're also gonna learn from those mistakes. So the sooner that you start making them, the sooner you can start learning from them. And while it can be very frustrating, I think you just have to view it as, if I'm making a mistake, I am making progress. Oh my God, this is upside down. One more moment. Okay, so if you're making mistakes, you're making progress. You're moving in the right direction, and remembering that and just trying to think that to yourself and your anxiety when you're in the midst of a mistake can make it feel less scary and make you less likely to cry, probably. That's how I'm feeling about some of this right now. It's frustrating, but I'm learning and I'm moving in the right direction. For the love of God, do not get these tangled again. Now, another person asked, how to be gentler with yourself. And I'm interpreting this as like how to be kinder to yourself, how to give yourself room for rest. This is something that I personally have struggled a lot with. My therapist says that I am a maximizer, which means that I need to get the maximum productivity out of every day. I have to do A+ work on everything. I have to review every single option to make sure that I am picking the best option. If you're thinking, wow, that sounds exhausting, it is. It really is. But, you know, it's how I'm programmed. And because of that, my bully, which is the mean little voice in my head, that's what my therapist likes to call it, my bully often likes to tell me that I am not doing enough, that I'm not doing well enough, that I am being lazy if I am not being productive. And ironically, that can sometimes lead to functional freezes where I quite literally can't get myself to do anything. I don't need to watch another Taylor Swift video. I really need to get up. What was I gonna do? Which is, again, the opposite of what my bully wants. So that leads to a wonderful loop of negative self-talk. But a few things that have helped me. One, I really like the saying, sometimes my best is rest. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I came up with that saying. I just said it one day and I was like, that's great. Wow. Great job, brain, on that one. Now, with that said, could I have possibly heard it somewhere else and just I made myself think that I made it up? Yep. So if somebody else said it, you can let me know. But otherwise, I think I'm the author of that one. But basically, the idea is that my best won't look the same every single day. Sometimes my best will be being super productive, keeping things clean, getting a lot of work done, doing the A+ work. And then sometimes my best is rest. Sometimes my best is laying on the couch and rotting and recharging. Goose, do you consider yourself more of a Chandler or Joey? You're right, you're definitely Joey, I'm Chandler. Sometimes my best is just not doing A+ work. It's just doing good enough work so that I can have the energy and the motivation to do work the next day. Another tip I like is to not say things to yourself that you wouldn't say to a friend. So for instance, if your friend came up to you and said, hey, I haven't been able to find time to get to the gym this week. I just feel like such a lazy piece of shit. I'm the worst and I look terrible. You probably wouldn't agree with them. If you would, you're a really bad friend. Please rethink that. But you would probably say, hey, you know, it's totally fine. Like a week off of the gym, that's really not that much. You've got a lot going on in your life. It's totally reasonable that you couldn't get there. You have a lot going on at work. Maybe you're dealing with a really heavy problem that's been weighing on you. You would list all of these reasons why it is totally fine and okay for your friend to rest and for your friend to not be optimally productive every single day. You would not list off a bunch of mean things about them. So don't do that to yourself. Just consider it, okay? Because you are with yourself 24/7. So whether you like it or not, you are your own best friend, all right? And best friends don't talk to each other in mean, negative ways. Another question, how to be content with where you are in life when it's not where you want to be, but there's not a lot you can do to change it right now. So this is a really frustrating feeling. And I think really the underlying question is, how do you deal with feeling like you don't have control over the things happening in your life? And I think what you have to do in this situation is focus on what you can control. And I know that's easier said than done. Hydration break. So example from my own life. So after I graduated college, about 2 years after, I was feeling very lost in my career. I had just taken the first job I could get out of school, which came after applying for like 90 jobs. And it was a good job. Very grateful for it, but it just wasn't at a company that I really ever envisioned myself working for, and I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. But at the same time, I wasn't really sure what I could do to get myself to a company that I felt aligned more with my values, to get myself into a career that I felt would be more invigorating for me. And that was mostly because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So how do you work towards something when you don't know what that is. But eventually I got to the point where I was like, I have to stop focusing on wanting to change my career, especially because I don't even know what I want my new career to be. So instead, let's focus on making friends and building community. So I shifted my energy to that. I was going on a lot more Bumble BFF friend dates. I was going on a lot more regular dates. I was trying a lot of new things. I was joining some leagues, and I ended up, finding my friends, finding my community. And one of those friends shared my interest in environmental sustainability. And we decided that we were going to start a blog and an Instagram page together. And that's something that I would not have had the courage to do without the support of another person. So we started that Instagram page about 5 years ago now, and about a year into it, my friend decided that it wasn't for her, and she actually wanted to go back to school for teaching, so she left. I kept working on the page, and now it has evolved into 194,000 followers on Instagram, and 30-ish thousand subscribers here on YouTube, and I have been able to cut back to part-time at my job and have more time to focus on things that I am really excited and really passionate about. And so by focusing on something completely separate from my career, focusing on my friendships, I was inadvertently able to change my career for the better too. So that's basically a long-winded way of saying a watch pot never boils. Like when we're just so focused on something out of our control and just waiting for something to change, it often doesn't. But then when we shift our energy to things that we can control, a lot of the times pieces will start falling into place in other areas of our life without us really even noticing. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody gets that way. If you take nothing else from this video, let it be to add that banger to your self-confidence hype pump up playlist. Okay, and if you don't know what it is, watch some Disney Channel. Go get Disney Plus right now. Not sponsored, but you should get it if you don't know what I was just singing, all right? Because it works wonders. Okay, next question. Morgan, can you make a smoothie on camera? I love watching you make smoothies so much. Answer, yes, if that was a real question. That's obviously not a real question, but it's my way of saying, I'm gonna make a smoothie right now. Ha ha ha, so clever. I just do half a banana, some blueberries, kiwi, Greek yogurt, almond butter, and protein powder. It's healthy, it's yummy, it keeps you full, and I'm gonna be real with you. It helps you poop. Okay, actual question is, how do you decompress after work? So for me, I think the key to fully unplugging is to get outside right after work. I think this is very important, especially if you work from home, because you need something that is gonna act as a commute. Like if you work from the office and you are driving home, or you walk outside to get to the bus, to take the train, you have that time, that commute time, for your brain to recognize, okay, we are transitioning to a new part of the evening. But when you don't have that, your brain is just like, well, we're in a slightly different room now than we were just in, or in the same room, depending on your setup. I know I have been there. I have been in the work from home in a 1-bedroom apartment situation. So yeah, really prioritize some outdoors time, even if it's just a 10-minute walk, something to get you out, get you in the fresh air, and let that filter out any negative work thoughts from the day. We got no spoons. Thank you yesterday, Morgan, for running the dishwasher. Another thing that helps me is having something cozy to accomplish in the evenings, because my brain always wants to be accomplishing something. It loves the dopamine. And so after work, I will find myself either thinking about work and things that I need to do and accomplish, or thinking about other problems that I need to solve. But those aren't really like cozy, let's go to sleep thoughts. So I've found that having something easy and cozy to work on in the evenings, like a jigsaw puzzle, crossword puzzle, coloring, a craft, knitting my blanket, doing something like that gives my brain something to focus on, but it's not something that's stressful, but yet it is still something to focus on, and so that kind of quiets the rest of the chatter in my brain. Goose, you want to lick the spoon? You are witnessing the puppy dishwasher in action. He's extremely thorough. We're thinking about giving him a raise this year. Great work, sir. The third thing that has really been helping me lately is showering in the evenings. I actually used to always shower in the evenings when I had to go into the office because I simply didn't have time to shower in the morning because I wanted to wake up as late as possible. But then when we switched to work from home, I started showering in the mornings. And then just a couple weeks ago, I was like, let's see what showering in the evening is like again. That could be a fun, different thing to try. So I took a night shower and it felt amazing. I felt like I washed off all my worries from the day and basically became a new person. And the evening now felt like this whole like brand new day because I had showered. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's how it felt. And so I've been trying to do that more often because it just left me feeling very recharged, but in like a relaxed way. And I've made my shower really cozy. I put fairy lights in it, and I got this phone holder so that I can watch my YouTube videos in there, because there's nothing like being naked while watching your favorite YouTubers. Are you naked right now while you're watching me? Don't tell me. I don't need to know that information. But it's actually made showers something that I look forward to, which says a lot because typically I despise showering. I think it's such a waste of time. I mean, obviously it's not because you get clean and you smell better, but I wish it could be done so much faster. So anyways, sometimes you can't avoid a morning shower. It has to be done, but whenever I can, I've been trying to do my evening showers. This was my Secret Santa gift. Well, it wasn't my gift. It was the gifts that I received in Secret Santa. It's 101 Pooping Puppies, a 1,000-piece puzzle. The person who got me really understands my humor and interests. Burn brighter candle. Can you even tell that this candle's lit? It's lit. Very, very tiny flame. Be brighter. Hold on, I really envisioned this with a nice candle, so I'm gonna get another. This is the same one, but it's almost gone. There we go. Some warm orange light needed to be added to this scene. You're welcome. All right, let's make some room for the puzz. Move this. This is dangerous. Don't move flames like this at home. This needs to be wiped, but we're not doing that now because we're doing cozy advice time. I actually got a puzzle last year for my Secret Santa gift as well, and it fit perfectly on our coffee table, which has always been a dream of mine to have a puzzle that I can do on my coffee table because it's so much more cozy. However, the coffee table is also within reach of Goose, and he very sleuthily, is that a word? Like a sleuth, to be sleuth-like, in a very sleuth-like way. I'm pretty sure that he, one by one, ate the pieces off the table in the night, because I was about 3/4 of the way done with it when I realized I had no more pieces left. And I don't think David ate them, and I didn't eat them, so it was Goose. But it was just ironic because this is a puzzle of puppies literally pooping, so if Goose eats these puzzle pieces, then he is a puppy pooping out a puzzle piece of a pooping puppy. I think I just came up with a new tongue twister. Who chops wood in a could chuck wood forest? Who needs that one? And you have the pooping puppies one. Where's my phone with the questions? Oh my God. Goose, did you eat my phone too, since you haven't had puzzle pieces to eat lately? Oh, here it is. Apologies, Goose, for accusing you of that. Okay, next question. How to organize mind clutter. So when I try to describe my brain to people, I like to describe it as a cloud, and all my thoughts are bouncing around behind that cloud, and sometimes they come to the front and they're really clear, and sometimes they're in the middle and they're just like kind of clear, and sometimes they're at the back and I can't see them at all, but I'm aware that they're all there and that they're all moving all the time. And so one at the front that's very clear could very quickly become one at the back that I cannot see. So when somebody says mind clutter, that's what I think of. I think of my brain and how it's like a cloud. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but it is the reality that I am living in. So I'm gonna explain to you how I deal with that. And the number one thing is that I try to write everything down as soon as I think of it. I have a note, an ongoing note on my phone. It's not very organized, but it's there. A note with every random thing I think of that I need to do or I want to do. I try in the morning and in the evening to write everything down that I want to get done either like that day or the next day on an actual notepad. And then from that brain dump list, I will pull out priorities. And having it all written down just helps ease my anxiety about forgetting things, because that's one whole category of anxiety in my head. Like, even if the thing itself that I have to do gives me anxiety, at least I know that I'm not forgetting about it. I will write down even the tiniest of things that I need to accomplish, down to like make a smoothie, eat lunch, brush my teeth. Not necessarily because I'm worried I will forget to do those regular things, though sometimes I do forget to eat lunch, but more so just I won't avoid doing them if they are on my to-do list and I can check them off. Like, a lot of the time I will avoid coming to make a smoothie because I'm so hyper-focused on whatever I'm working on. And if I don't have make a smoothie on my to-do list, then it feels not productive for me to take a break to go make a smoothie. But having it on my to-do list, it's like, okay, if I go do this, I can check it off, and then it feels productive. So really I'm just tricking my brain, but having every little thing in my life ever written down on a checklist is pretty much the key to my happiness. I also like time blocking. So I'll take my random list of things that I need to get done and I will assign it to a certain time throughout the day. So like between, 10 and 11, between 11 and 12, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And so it gives me a very realistic look at what I can actually get done in a day. Very helpful for me when I find myself getting into the habit of putting way too much on my to-do list and then getting really stressed out at the end of the day when I haven't completed it all, even though there was no way feasibly for any human being to complete it all in just a day. The time blocking really keeps me humble. And the final question that I will be giving my answer to today is stepping outside my comfort zone but staying true to myself and my needs as an introvert. That's more of a statement than a question, but I do understand what you're getting at. And I'm gonna answer it after I change my camera battery, because you're about to die on me. One moment. And now I've brought you back to life. You're welcome. All right, so getting outside of your comfort zone while not overdoing it, it is a very delicate balance, I'll be honest. Because as an introvert, you want to get out of your comfort zone because you don't want to miss out on life. You want to grow as a person. You typically have pretty bad FOMO, but at the same time, you don't want to get so far out of your comfort zone that you propel yourself into a state of panic. So one thing we can do is try to couple uncomfortable things with comfortable things. For instance, if you want to try going to a new workout class, maybe go to that class with a friend. So you're trying a new uncomfortable thing, but you're doing it with somebody you know. You don't have the added anxiety of trying it alone. Another way to do this would be maybe going to the workout class on the weekend instead of during the week, so that you don't have the added anxiety of needing to go to work right after. Or maybe you could decide to take a class that is right in your neighborhood. You can just walk to it. You don't have to worry about driving or taking public transit. If either of those things give you anxiety, they personally give me a lot of anxiety, so I love being able to walk to things. I actually used this strategy a lot when I was trying to do more things outside my comfort zone. So like, I decided to go take like a craft class by myself, which was a little bit scary, but the class I took was at a shop that I was very familiar with. I knew the owners, so even though I didn't know the people at the class, I didn't know what the class was really gonna be like, I at least had the familiarity of my surroundings, and I didn't have that added anxiety on top of it. Also, when I did my first solo trip, I decided to go to London. I knew that the anxiety of traveling alone would be a lot for me to handle, so I wanted to make sure I was going somewhere that I was comfortable, and I had been to London before. It's not somewhere I went very frequently, so it was still different and new, but I'd been there before, and something about that felt very comforting and safe. On the other hand, if I decided decided to do a solo trip to like Bolivia, I would have been way too stressed out because I've never been to Bolivia and I don't really speak Spanish, so that would have made things a lot harder too. So just be very kind and very reasonable with yourself about what you can feasibly handle and try to couple the anxious thing with as many non-anxiety inducing things as you can. And then when I find myself really resisting doing something outside of my comfort zone, I like to ask myself, am I resisting this because I'm an introvert and I am genuinely exhausted and I need to recharge? Or am I resisting because my anxiety is just looking for an excuse to not go? And sometimes it can be hard to tell which one it is, but something that helps me is thinking about how I will feel if I go versus not going. So like if I don't go do this thing, am I going to feel genuinely relieved and relaxed and actually sit at home and recharge? Or am I going to sit at home and feel really anxious about the fact that I didn't go? And if it's the latter, that usually means that I should go, that it is in fact my anxiety just trying to protect me and get me to stay home. I don't know why I was gonna put quotes around get me to stay home. That's literally what it's doing. But yeah, if I think I'm just gonna sit at home and feel anxious instead of actually recharging, then that means I need to go do the thing. But likewise, I also like to think about how I will feel afterwards. So if I go to this thing, am I going to feel really burnt out and tired after, or am I going to feel accomplished and ultimately happy that I went? Will I feel like I grew as a person out of going? It doesn't always have to be that dramatic, but just like, will I feel good after doing this thing? And again, if it's the latter, I know that it's just my anxiety trying to stop me. I should just push through and go. Whereas if I feel like I'm really gonna be burnt out after, then it's probably better to prioritize rest. This is now the second puzzle that I've opened that opens like this from the top instead of opening like this, where you take the whole top off and you have a box that you can put pieces in, because usually I like to get the edges out and then I put the middles in the box while I work on the edge, but I can't do that because there's no top and I can't see and sort through the pieces easily from this angle. It's not conducive to looking at things. So who thought of this? Who thought of this idea? Because it's a terrible design and I need to talk to you about it. It just logistically doesn't make sense. All right, so that is a wrap on cozy advice. I hope that you weren't bored to sleep like Goose clearly was. Hope you found some of my ramblings a little bit helpful, a little bit insightful. If you did find yourself liking this, I would love if you could give this video a thumbs up. You can do that either by just physically making this motion with your hand, or you can click the button on the video. The clicking one is better for me, but I do accept both of them. If you want to see more videos like this, I think I'm going to do Q&A advice type videos probably every other month over on Patreon. So head over there if you want to see more of these. The lowest tier is only $3 a month and you get a whole extra YouTube video from me every month, plus some other fun things. So check that out if you can. I'm not offended if you can't. I know in this economy, we can't be spending extras, but if you do have some extra to spend and you want to support me, then I support you in that endeavor. Other than that, I hope that your new year is off to a good start. I'm looking forward to a fun video-filled 2025 with you all. And but for now, I'm gonna probably take a little snooze, like Goosey here. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Goose, do you think 3 bowls of cereal in 1 hour is too much? Watch that, watch that, watch that. Could watch that again for the 7th time. Goose, did you just poot? It's a little rude. I do feed you every day. The least you can do is not poot in my face.